Hello, well met. Welcome to the pre-game hangout. Woo! I am here with the cast of Path Arcana, and we are going to continue the Magician's Path in just 30 minutes. But before then, we're just going to chill and relax and chat about things. So, no D&D movie spoilers. Ben and I are still going to go see it this weekend. So if anybody's seen it beforehand, I know Allie has. No spoilers. Okay. Except there's a big chonker dragon. We know that. We know that. It's
Oh,
fine.
oh, Lord, he coming. I love him. I love him so much.
He's in the trailer though.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in the trailer. It's not
yeah,
really a, that's
it's
not really a
fine.
secret.
Yeah, it's all good. All good. So, how about you, Rhiannon? Have you seen this movie?
Of course. Well, I guess not course, but yes, on Sunday.
No, I very much appreciated that answer.
I'll see if I can take my parents. I promised them that I would vet it for gore
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want to watch anything with gore. So I can
Did you
tell them
find
that
it?
it's safe.
Yeah, okay. That's what my next question
Yeah,
was going to be.
I don't remember any blood.
Yeah, I
Like
don't remember
somebody's
any
head
blood
got chopped
either.
off in the background at one point, and I was like, yeah, that's a sign of bloodlessness. Is that the like helmet just sort of rolled.
Yeah, pretty much. Like even yeah, there are several moments where there could have been blood and there really wasn't. So I think they definitely wanted to keep it cleaner for like the younger audience, which is totally fine. I think it works, honestly. It's a lot of fun.
The theater I went to, oh, I don't know if it was a theater or not, because I don't like I'm down in Portland a lot for my job, and so the Portland suburb theaters are cheaper than the Puget Sound theaters.
Mm.
And so I go to a lot of movies down there. And so then this theater up here, because just where I was when it came out, um, was turned way too loud. And I'm like, have I not been in an action movie for too long? Is it this particular theater? Like, um, I refuse to believe that I'm turning into my parents. Like it was just really too loud. But I will admit, like there was at one point I went to a Cirque du Soleil because they come out every so often to Seattle, and I was like, oh, it's too loud. I didn't bring earplugs. I should have brought earplugs. I forgot. And I realized that the one I'd seen before, a couple years before that, had been a horse. It's not like officially Cirque du Soleil, but it's like Cirque du Soleil related, and it has horses doing tricks. And so, of course, they couldn't blast the poor animals' ears. They could just blast our ears. Um, so the volume had returned to like this is what they think humans would like level, and I was like,
Well, yeah, they can't blast the animals. That would be cruel.
Would also probably spook them.
Yeah, it would.
Speaking of spooky and loud volumes, I literally almost passed out at a concert once because even though I had earplugs to protect my eardrums, the volume was turned up so loud, and I was standing like right in front of a speaker that the vibrations sort of like did some sort of like resonance thing with my inner ear that I literally started to just completely pass out. And I was like, oh my, like guess I need some water, and like went and got some water at the back bar. I was like, yeah, I feel fine. And then went right back to where I was and then just immediately started to pass out again. And I was like, got it. Okay. This is a problem. Cool. I guess we're not going to be in the fun part of this concert at all. Womp womp. I'm old, Gandalf. Like,
well, I mean, like I feel like there is an experience that's the like sort of being surrounded by a sound, but I also am fond of the experience of hearing like nuance in said sound.
yeah.
Because I do I come from a family of super tasters who will not do hot anything. Like the merest amount of cayenne pepper, like no.
Interesting.
And I am not, so I do like a little bit of it, but like I hit a point where I'm like, okay, that's not flavor, that's burning. So so there I feel like there is a sound point where it's like that's not music, that's noise, which makes me sound like I'm 80. But like even as a young teen, I felt like I'm more interested in like nuanced music or the
No,
nuance of music
I feel
and
you.
not played at that volume.
Yeah, my ex-husband was really into literal the noise genre and black metal, which are two different genres, but to me they both sound like amp feedback and screaming. And they are a perfectly valid, wonderful, and lovely genre that I'm sure other people enjoy. But to me, as someone that like engages more emotionally with like media and especially music, I just found that they just made me angry. I don't know why. It's all that screaming. And
Interesting.
he was like, this is great. Well, like you don't like it? And I'm like, I feel agitated and angry. And he's like, really? Why? And I was just like, because of constant screaming and amp feedback in my ear. Who, reasons. So, but don't worry, we didn't break up because of the noise genre and the black metal.
Broke up for other reasons. Yeah.
Broke up for other reasons.
Valid.
Yeah, no, it's totally reasonable.
Yeah, I knew
Think-
somebody on a mud who her character was like based on a singer from some like death metal group. And so she would link like death metal songs, and I'd be like, I am lying and saying I listened to that to know your character because I really didn't. And apparently, what's it called? Death Clock, which is like a parody and or ironic death metal band.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so she would link to those, and she'd be like, "This is so funny," and I'm like, "It's still screaming." Like, where is the like? It's a parody in that it's the thing again. Like, I don't understand enough about death metal to understand the parody happening.
I think with Death Clock, a lot of a lot of the parody really shows up in the TV show that they come from, because
Oh, okay.
they are a fake band. I guess they're technically a real band, but the actual band members are just like they're cartoon characters. They're literal cartoon
Yeah.
characters that had a TV show for a while.
Yep.
And they were just their whole thing was like that parody of like everything's just like over the top brutal and kind of like, they like character like people die left and right in that show, and they're just like totally unfazed by it.
I
Hardcore.
had a metal experience where I think Eric wanted me to die because of what I did on a D&D game we were playing. Like I have a D&D heavy metal playlist there are 4 very specific sessions when you want that action movie rock kind of thing. And I put it on and he was like, seriously, Kitty, while we're playing D&D, Kitty?
Yep. Yep.
And I was like,
It's true.
what? Kitty was fun. It's like,
I mean, you're not wrong.
I like screaming Canadian girls. That's great.
Yeah. No, that's totally fine.
It's good times.
All right, let's see. So I'm working on something behind the scenes. You can see me looking upward because I'm looking at my other monitor. But yeah, it's gonna be something good. Woo! All right. Yeah. I use music a lot during games as well. Ben can certainly attest to that, and everyone who's played on the stream can attest to that. We don't have music set up for this session, so it's gonna be nice and quiet. But I don't think you players are listening to the music typically while we game anyway, right? So yeah, I think
It just depends. Sometimes I can hear it, sometimes I can't. I don't know.
okay, well that makes sense.
I've noticed when I watch other streams, like, I mean, I don't know if it's like cliche to mention Critical Role at this point, but like I've noticed that their music is always so low and so subtle that like unless you really focus on it, you don't even hear it. I think it's just there almost like subliminally.
Yeah.
But that's not me when I play in person. I'm just like, no, we're putting on that playlist and y'all are gonna have a soundtrack experience.
Yeah. I ran a literal Persona game for quite some time that Ben was in, and we would run it in person at my house, and I would just blare Persona music while we were playing from speakers under the table.
I recall the attempt at a Persona game that we did like on Roll20 for a bit that also heavily featured a lot of Persona music, and that was fun though. I was sad when we just wrapped that. That was
well,
cool.
I mean, we got to a point where we're like, okay, we've been doing this system for long enough, I guess. So let's find something else to do. And yeah, it worked out. Not all campaigns last for all that long,
Was that the
at-
same system, Eric?
That was using Void Heart Symphony,
Mm.
which
I thought
is
yeah.
a different. It's a powered by the apocalypse sort of system, with like tarot cards that go into it, and it's really cool. It's really involved and interesting. I highly recommend anybody to check it out. But yeah, it was pretty fun. We basically, if you know much about the Persona games, we basically got through like one palace arc, and that was the end of the little campaign that we ran. It was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I like the was that we went to that kind of like Penny Dreadful thing after that, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
The one where you were real thirsty to become a vampire.
Look, you dangle vampires in
Like
front of me, things are gonna
real thirsty for blood.
Yeah. Everyone
It's funny
bang
because
blocking me.
the GM was like, okay, so yeah, the vampire is trying to seduce you and pull you away from your friends. And you're like, uh-huh. And isolate
consent.
you and you know, trick you, and you're like, no tricks. I'm there for this. And the rest of us were like, we must save her. And you're like, no, go away. Go away. Yeah.
I got this. Got this.
Like,
Oh.
you don't got this. Your judgment is compromised. You're like, oh.
Oh, my judgment is right where it needs to be. Thank you very much.
It's like you're at like a bar or a club with that friend that has terrible taste in romantic relationships, and they're like about to go home with someone, and all the friends are like, "Hey, like, aren't you
maybe.
sure?
Like,
Don't you want to stay here with us?" And they're like, "No, I'm good. I'm by." It's like, "No, really, please, like, no, please don't go out with
like
that
there was
person." Like,
there was one point where it was like we were at a dinner thing and it's like, oh hey, there's a portrait of this dude with a woman that must be his late wife, and it looks like exactly like her or some bullshit. And everyone was like, oh, that's concerning, and she's like, I don't see the problem here.
Can't you see we're made for each other?
Well, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that. She had no interest in him. Like, that was the thing. Vampireness, and then she gets rid of him. That was the plan.
Yeah,
yeah, it's so funny. Considering my love of like the 90s, early 2000s World of Darkness, I'm shocked that I haven't made a vampire wizard in D&D yet.
I mean,
guess I know what I'm doing after this game. Like,
I do play a lot of Dompier. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like I sort of got like burned out on vampires from that period. Like, because I was super into it. And then like it was everywhere. And so I was like, okay, like more's coming at me. So I will take this. I will watch this. I will read this. Like more. And then I was like, oh God, stop. It's like the Wreck-It Ralph pancake cat or whatever that was.
I feel you on that. The one that the media that sort of got me back into vampires in a low-key way was actually Only Lovers Left Alive, which was, I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen
like
the trailers.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston as like half-naked sexy vampires. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
Yes.
I know one of the things I would love to do bucket list wise, at least as far as like the streamed TTRPG sphere goes, I keep wanting to be in a vampire stream. Just not materializing so far, but I'm trying. One day.
Well, I mean, you know, we could play a vampire game on this stream.
I would not be opposed to this. I'm just saying.
One day.
One day. I have a different idea that I'm actually working on. I don't want to spoil anything yet because everything's up in the air. But yeah,
okay.
It's not vampire, but it will be twisty and political if it does take off. So interesting. I'll tell you later.
Okay. Well, because like I have known Ben for a long time. I got Ben into playing D&D. He had never played D&D before we met. And the night we met was the night that I started playing D&D with a bunch of people, because it was a mutual friend of ours who brought along a bunch of friends, including Ben. And then we all played. He showed up first because he's the most responsible of that group. And then we just chatted about D&D and we started playing, and I was running this game and he was like, this is great, I got to change my character. I'm like, I understand. And we've gamed together a lot over the years, but we've never played a vampire game, even though Ben he knows a lot about the World of Darkness, depending on your continuity, right? Because it has been rebooted a few times. But like, I keep meaning to play a vampire game with Ben, but then like worldwide pandemics happen, and yeah, that's true.
I think the reason it hasn't happened is because, and if anyone's played a vampire game that it doesn't go this way, please tell me the secret sauce, so that but it's like, one of the things that I love about D&D is like making friendships and like lovers and like deep, meaningful like character building and relationships with people. But I feel like that when you play a vampire, it's like everyone is an immoral jerk who's out to screw everyone else.
See,
and it's hard to have those kind of stories. And because I'm terrible at lying. I'm not duplicitous. So like the first vampire character I played like one session of a LARP version of VTM in the early 2000s. And I was like, that I can't be duplicitous. So I literally like rolled up a Toreador that's whole shtick was that he's like, hi, I'm like friendly and like unassuming and am genuinely here to meet people. And everyone was like, what do we do with you?
What is happening?
What's your angle?
Deal?
What's your game? And I'm just like, to meet people. And they're just like,
did your sire drop you on your head?
Yeah, exactly. I think this is why we've never played a vampire game, is because I'm terrible at lying.
It depends. There's also like I know with Masquerade, there's ways to do that. Certainly, it's harder to do in a Camarilla game just because it's like politics and upward mobility and like backstabbing, and you can do that in more. I think you can still do that, but you can do that more in like anarch movement settings where it's everyone's kind of like it's more egalitarian.
You got to band together because all the other vampires are out to get you.
Yeah, but I enjoy I've played quite a few vampire games. I currently am playing a few vampire games just on part of a Discord RP group. And we've had plenty of really neat interpersonal character RP. It's a larger player base so it's there's plenty of room for like creating groups and coteries and factions and just kind of like characters getting to know each other. They might be screwy monsters, or they might be like the more kind of like I am making the best of this cursed situation that I find myself in. Although I think my favorite character right now is a 500 no, she's a 1,000-year-old Lamia who basically spent 500 years in a box and is adjusting to modernity and trying to like recover some semblance of her humanity because she's fallen in love, and it's adorable. Now admittedly she still is a monster and has absolutely torn someone's heart out through their chest before, but she had good reasons.
But she was in love with them and she just wanted their heart.
No, though they had kidnapped someone she cared about. That's so that was like, she was like, okay, you get punished now. And
so maybe you're actually playing a vampire game right now and we just don't know it because Lucretia, I'm just saying.
I mean, Lucretia definitely takes some cues from some of the characters I played. I think that she has kind of some of that degree of I have become a little separated from the aspects that make me human. But so I'm like not quite on the same wavelength as everyone around me. but she's also still in some twisted way trying to do the right thing, which I find I find that to be a lot of fun, because just it kind of brings that sort of idea of what is right kind of into question. And I'm have fun playing around with that.
Oh, I can't wait for a session where our characters can like have some downtime, get drunk, and then I just start like challenging you on your like metaphysical like beliefs and like worldviews. And we just sort of see what happens.
Now that I think about it, though, there also probably is some kind of parallel between the spirit of vengeance that is kind of like whispering in the back of her mind, and the beast in vampire. It's kind of, because the spirit of vengeance doesn't seem to care as much about the rightness. It's just like, well, things happen, people were aggrieved, deal with it, kind of situation. And she's trying to at least mitigate that, or mediate that to a degree where she's not completely just like going full, as I call it, paladin syndrome, and just killing everything that she doesn't find to be on the up and up.
Lucretia smash.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was like Lucretia's voice of vengeance. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Vampire's voice of the beast. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it.
I mean, basically, that it's like there's some nuances there that are different, but it's definitely very similar.
Rhiannon, when you played vampire games, what was your vibe, your sort of thing that you went for?
I mean, what I needed was a character that would let me like be quiet and sort of like observant. And unfortunately, with LARPing, you can be quiet and observant and then just like fade into the background and then have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I sort of tripped and fell into that, because I was trying to do the like pretty new child, or child A, or however you would pronounce what's written that way. And I think I was a Toreador, but like I was trying to do the sort of like new to the situation and figuring oneself out kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then I sort of bounced into werewolf for a bit. And that
Werewolf was fun.
Yeah,
I'm
that
looking
suited me
forward
better.
to
I was obviously a glasswalker. I think that's not a shock.
Black Furies.
And then like, I mean, that's not a shock if you know that my Tried Pub books were werewolves, not World of Darkness ones, my own spin, but and all the vampires are dead. So maybe that's why I'm a little like, my brain has left vampires behind too, because I got so into the world where I was like, I want to focus on werewolves without having vampires, because I was writing them. Well, the first one came out in 2012, so I was writing in like 2009 kind of thing. And so if you had werewolves, they had to be fighting vampires. As much as I love the underworld movies, like the sort of like, they are natural enemies like cats and dogs, the vibe that got going there doesn't necessarily like really make sense. It's just, these are two powerful supernatural creatures that ended up in a lot of things, and it's more tension if they're fighting each other, I guess. Like, I mean, one's alive and one's undead, but there are many other like alive supernatural creatures one could have gone with, I suppose.
That's fair. I know that I'm. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I did once play a gangrel vampire who was played by Sean Boyega, or John Boyega. Sorry, his name was Sean Broyega, but he was played by John Boyega in the game. And he embarked on a very, very, very poorly conceived relationship with a werewolf who was a forest ranger. And it was very poorly conceived, but they were very cute together. So
yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, I don't know if any of the reboots of Vampire the Masquerade ever did source books for Seattle. I always but I know that the original sort of like early 2000s World of Darkness, like I feel like they missed Seattle. They had a bunch of cities, but never Seattle. And I always felt like that was a miss. I actually wrote my own once, like just as a total nerd move to just did like literal full source book, like just for
I've
Seattle.
read it. It's pretty cool.
There might be something now as like a third party thing on the Storyteller's Vault, but otherwise, like I'm not sure. I know that the still upcoming, Bloodlines 2 is supposed to be set in Seattle, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes if it ever comes out.
Yeah, we gotta wrap for the
Yeah, we gotta
commercials
wrap.
that way. So,
So, all right. See you soon. Don't go away.